freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 455 of Gun Freedom Radio, where we engage, we educate, and we inform. We are brought to you by azfirearmsauctions.com, where you set the price on guns, ammo, and accessories. I am one of your hosts, Cheryl Todd.
And I'm the other guy, Dan Todd. Our theme today is Support the Armed Women of America. And our guests today are Jan Ennenga and Beth Rees of Armed Women of America. Jan is Executive Director for Armed Women of America, and Beth is a certified meeting professional and the founder of Rees, the event runner. Beth specializes in creating memorable experiences for purpose-driven startups, corporations, small business, associations, and nonprofits, including Armed Women of America.
Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's great to be here.
Oh, this is wonderful. We get to work together every so often. And today, I think, is an extra special reason to talk about how we're all working together. But I want to start by, making people a little bit more maybe aware of Armed Women of America, the AWA. So, Jan, I'm going to ask you, is your organization new to the women's firearm training space?
Hey, hi, Cheryl and Dan. It's so great to see you both again and to be on your show. I thank you for that. Especially because for Beth and I, this organization means so much to us and to thousands of women across the United States.
Absolutely.
Armed Women of America is a nonprofit organization, a 501c3 to be exact, that started life under the nurture of Carrie Lightfoot's The Well-Armed Woman, LLC, in 2013. Our first chapter was formed in February of 2013 in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And we grew and grew and grew, with chapters springing up across the United States, known as the Well-Armed Women Shooting Chapters. At the end of 2014, beginning of 2015, the chapters were spun off into the separate nonprofit organization that we are today, TWA Shooting Chapters Incorporated. And in 2021, due to continued confusion that we were the same company as the LLC, we rebranded to Armed Women of America, which is a DBA. And even though our name is different, our mission remains the same, and that is to enable women to be their own self-protectors, creating freedom, peace of mind, and confidence in themselves. And our vision is that women have the skills, mindset, and training to defend themselves and those in their care. So we are not new to the firearms training space, and it's just a wonderful organization. And the heart of our organization is our volunteer chapter leaders, who give so much of themselves to invest in their communities, in individuals, to help them be their own self-protectors.
And I just feel like it is becoming more and more and more important for women, particularly, to understand that we are our own first responders, that when something is happening to us, we are responding to it first, or to our children who are in our care. And so to have an amazing organization like Armed Women of America offering the incredible training that you do all across the nation is just ever more needed, I think. So thank you and all of your volunteers for all you do. And Beth, what would you say makes AWA? You work with a bunch of different organizations, so you might have a real unique perspective about what makes AWA special in your opinion.
I think I do have a unique perspective in that I started as a volunteer chapter leader back in 2014 Started one of I think the second chapter in Cincinnati, Ohio, and then actually took over another chapter in Northern Kentucky. So I was leading 2 chapters. That was before my professional role as a consultant. So I've had the opportunity to experience the organization at that grassroots level, at the chapter level, all the way up to the national level. And for me, and I can't stress this enough, the most interesting dynamic of this organization is how organically women of different age, socioeconomic backgrounds, it doesn't matter what your race, your creed, your religion, we don't care. That organically we have come together for that important piece of being our own self-protectors and being able to protect ourselves and our family members. And it, in an age where we're very divided and have been for quite a few years, to me, it's just remarkable when you've got people that are deeply united in something that's very fundamentally important to them, how that all kind of dissipates. And we're focused on that key element of, being able to be our own first responders, as you said. And on top of that, being supporters of the Second Amendment, because we can't do one without the other. So to me, that...
I'm sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No.
All right.
So
Jan,
to me sorry.
No, you go ahead.
No, I mean, to me, that's just fundamentally the biggest differentiator of any organization I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
So
Agreed.
Jan, when you, if a woman comes up that has never fired a gun before, but they want to learn to defend themselves, but they're afraid, how would you start a person like that out?
Oh, I think when you talk to any chapter leader, that's actually one of their favorite things, is to help someone who is terrified or lacking confidence and help them through the beginning stages. And a lot of it is the familiarization, or as Steve Tarani would say, making the unknown known. And so, we start slow and let them move at their own pace with a little gentle nudging. But a lot of times it'll start in the classroom with a blue gun or a cert, or just basically even finger guns, just getting them comfortable with the terminology. A lot of times women want to know the big picture, how everything works. And even though it's confusing and it doesn't make sense necessarily, it helps them as they then start putting the pieces together. So that's generally how I start. And as an instructor as well, I watch to ensure that someone isn't becoming overwhelmed, or the cognitive stacking doesn't load to the point that they're no longer able to process the information. But it's just the most rewarding thing. And I have had several experiences of women that came in terrified, one being held at gunpoint.
Oh my gosh.
And a robbery at a store she was working at. And she wanted to overcome her fear. And first, picking up the firearm was just scary enough in itself, but then to actually fire the firearm, she got very emotional, very physical reaction as well, where she was shaking, dizzy, needed to sit down. And then at that point, though, all of a sudden the adrenaline kicked in, the excitement kicked in, and she had done it. And she had overcome this fear. And then she wanted to shoot again. Let's do this again. And so I've seen that repeated a number of times with women who have been through, domestic violence situations where they lacked confidence. And then they, it doesn't happen overnight, but over a period of time, you see them and they come in, scared and down. And then with the encouragement of other women and qualified instructors, they come out of their shell, they gain that confidence, and they're responsible, competent self-defenders. And
right.
Oh goodness, it's wonderful to see.
Right. So, we've been doing the radio show for several years, and unfortunately we see people that become victims before they learn that they need to teach themselves how to defend, or teach themselves to defend themselves. And so we need to encourage women, or anyone actually, to train before you become a victim. So I really like this program. I think it's very valuable. And a note to the guys, I mean, I feel 100% more comfortable when knowing that my wife can defend her and me. And also I get to buy more guns when she's involved with guns.
That's a
Right?
huge point as well.
It sure
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, because women like to shop. And once we discover all the things and the accessories within the firearms industry, you know, from clothing to, you know, everything that goes along with it. And we have to match, you know, purple,
Yeah.
Right.
especially when you're with that. But I think
course.
another point, Dan, to what you're saying is, and again, as an instructor, even outside of Armed Women of America, I have seen women come into my classes and they've had a firearm in their purse, not in a proper holster, for like, they say, I've had this gun in my purse for 5 years and I've never even shot it. And to me, that is horrifying because if one, it's not safe how they're carrying it. And two, it's a false sense of security for them. Because they don't know how to operate that handgun. And then oftentimes the handgun isn't well suited to them. So when we do actually get them out onto the range, and the first time they shoot that gun that was gifted to them, they realize that this isn't going to defend them. This is going to actually do the reverse because
You just hit it on a hard thing, gifted to them. That is a very cruel thing to do to someone, is give them a firearm. A firearm needs to be personal. It needs to be held by the person. They need to get familiar with that gun and they need to be comfortable with it. So, and we all make those mistakes that, oh, I'm going to buy you a gun and I'm going to take care of you, you know, and you know, it's not the gun that fits. It's so they need to do it themselves.
It's very well meaning. And,
Yeah.
you know, and that complicates it. And you guys aren't this way and you never were, but some of the firearms stores play right into it. And, oh, this is the best gun for you. And, you know, and I had 3 in a row show up with a gun that was not the right gun for them.
In the 80s, I did that. I had a gun shop in the 80s and I very well did that. And I'm embarrassed with the fact, but the best way to heal that is to admit it. And we did that. You know, women, first of all, women didn't walk in the gun shop back in the 80s. So I
or
did
the
it.
90s or the early 2000s even.
Yeah,
I can
right.
attest to that, having had a gun shop in California for a while.
Right. Well, we call that era in Danny's life BC, before Cheryl.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah. But she has taught me a lot. You know, that's the thing, that we can always learn from this. And I think the women are the most powerful plus for this industry anyway, because they're more vocal, they share more, they organize more. I think that it's really going to help with the fight for our gun rights to have women more involved than they were in the 80s.
Absolutely. And so, of course, I have a strong pull towards the world of advocacy. Your group is not necessarily built that way. Is that so? Beth, maybe you can speak to that.
Yeah, and then I'll let Jan, you interject because you've got a lot more experience with that. Being a 501c3 nonprofit, obviously we got to be careful where we are publicly. But having said that, you can't have this organization without understanding the importance of the Second Amendment right. So as far as advocacy, the focus is on the mission, of the organization, and it's still the Second Amendment is part of that. And I know we have a lot of chapter leaders that are involved with, organizations such as
Women for gun rights.
Women for that
right.
that are advocating, and they're also advocating not only on the national level, but they do it on the state level as
That's
well.
true.
So there's a lot of, and I can speak very specifically about a chapter leader from the Northern Kentucky chapter that I was involved with quite a few years ago, who is now part of Women for Gun Rights, who quite honestly was this very quiet, shy individual who has changed dramatically, and watched that progression and that evolution, to come from someone that had very just not even basic with the fundamentals of firearms and basic safety to go to that level. So again, I think there's just so much in this organization that happens holistically and organically, that really benefits, everyone.
Absolutely.
And so I think, Beth really touched on it. As a 501c3, we can educate, but we cannot, as endorse political candidates, support political
Absolutely.
candidates, or legislation.
Right.
So, and we know that there are other organizations out there in the space, like Women for Gun Rights, which is an excellent example that is doing wonderful work. And so we support that. Cheryl, you were at our conference last year and speaking, and always, in the previous life as DC Project and then Women for Gun Rights, we have supported the organization and encouraged our chapter leaders, many of whom are state leaders, to be involved in the organization to work on those kinds of efforts. And we do not discourage them from an individual basis from working in their communities or however they want. It's just that as an organization, structured the way we are unable to do that other than the education perspective.
No, I think that's very well said, and very well taken from both of you that, the Second Amendment, like our Constitution, is completely nonpartisan. Somehow gun rights have become this partisan football that, the two major parties kick back and forth. But then on an individual level, when we start realizing how much it impacts our lives, a lot of that stuff just goes out the window. But you certainly wouldn't want any kind of political muck to get in the way of the mission of your work that is training women to protect themselves, or to, maybe just have more fun with the firearms. You've got to shoot well to go hunting. Like the whole thing kind of comes together under your umbrella. And I love what you're doing and that you are protective of your mission.
I look at it like, so a guy back in the old days, a guy had a gun or guns, and he would go with his buddies and go to the range or go out in the desert and go shooting. Maybe once in a while take their kids with them to go out and shoot, but not much. Then now women involved with the guns, the family goes out to shoot. Now the family all benefits from the safety instruction and the fun of shooting. And it's great. And so get the women involved, get the families involved, and get the kids involved.
We are social creatures, aren't we, ladies?
We certainly are. And I think that's a huge part of, our organization is it is about firearms. It is about learning to be safe, responsible, and competent, but it's also about getting together with those who share an interest. And Dan, I think to your point as well, when a woman comes in and she's fearful, but then she moves from that fear to freedom, to confidence and excitement, it changes her position. Guns are no longer the enemy. She realizes that it actually levels the playing field for her and her family. And so there's a lot of change that occurs. We focus on the individual and helping them move into a position of responsibility and enjoy it while we do it. And whether someone moves on, and I know as a chapter leader in Yuma since 2014, we have had other organizations spring up, one, Yuma Desert Doves, Women on the Wing, and many of those that are involved and helping mentor are women that were in our organization and still are. But it's just so rewarding to see. And then to see, as we've seen over the years, our chapter leaders, many of whom saw the need in their communities, realized no one was stepping up. They saw the need. They didn't necessarily have all the experience they thought was necessary, but they stepped up anyway. And Nicole Wilkinson in Yuma is an excellent example of that, because she said, somebody needs to do this.
Yes.
Nobody's doing it. So, and Carrie Lightfoot, same thing, stepped forward and says, someone needs to fill this space. And so not only did they gain their instructor credentials and start chapters, but now to watch them, 10, 11 years later and see new chapter leaders come on board, they're doing things like the advanced range master training and the ASPIC, or the active self-protection instructor certification training. They're going to gun sight, going through all advanced levels of training. And it's so rewarding to see where some of the women started with absolutely no firearms experience. And now, and Cheryl, you're one of those as well. I mean, you're not a chapter leader, but I have watched you and what you have done with the FASTER program and all of that is just amazing. So encouraging.
Thank you for all of that. That is so important for people to hear, that you don't already, it's kind of like I say about our show, and being someone that speaks up for what we believe in. I don't have a degree in journalism, right? I'm just a person who
I
owned a
do, can't
gun
you
store.
tell?
Yes, you clearly have a degree in journalism, but I just decided, I'm going to try. I'm going to put, the camera on, the microphone on. We'll see what happens. And here we are this many years later. I speak all across the nation now. I love that you're describing women who have said, I see a need, I want to try. And when they can connect with a group like yours, success is in the recipe, because you have so many avenues to tap them in. And that really, you sort of answered my next question, but I think we can dive a little deeper. Somebody out there is listening now, and this one, what if it's a man who's out there listening? He's like, I want to help. I want to be a chapter leader. How does a person navigate that? And suppose it is a male person. How do you interact with them and thank them, but maybe redirect? How does all that work? Jan, are you the better one to answer that?
Yeah, Beth says yes. Jan's the one to answer that. Well, let me just start with on our website. If someone is interested in becoming a chapter leader, there is a form to fill out to become a chapter leader, or to host a range, or to become a host range, I should say, not host a range. Yeah, host a range, but become a host range for us. If the individual is male and says, hey, I want this to happen in my area, we're going to work with them to see that it can happen. To try to find a host range, try to find a female firearms instructor, or a female who is willing to lead the chapter and become an instructor. That individual, if they are an instructor, can assist with the chapter for a period of time. Many of our chapters have men that serve as their instructor RSOs as assistants. So we're not anti-male, but they have to be the right character in order to encourage women, and particularly women who may be fearful because they've been in situations where
absolutely,
it's been difficult for them. And so we've actually just started. I mean, it's just like brand new. We're launching it as we speak, our Anywhere virtual online chapter, our AVO chapter, we call it. And that is for women who are in areas who do not have a chapter, who may be interested in starting a chapter but want to learn a little bit more, connect with some people, or women who are, for whatever reason, they shift work, they are caregivers, unable to make regular meeting nights or days or schedules conflict. It's a great option for them. And we also have a lot of chapter leaders who are now joining as a secondary or third chapter, because it gives them an opportunity to learn without being the ones responsible for all of the instructions. So it's very exciting, and that's also available at our website, armedwomen.org.
I can kind of piggyback on that a little bit, just with my experience with my chapter. When I first got started, I mean, that was 10 years ago. I was in my 40s. I had never fired a gun in my life. And I'm married to a police officer. So I thought maybe I ought to understand a little bit of basic safety. And he got heavily involved with me in supporting me and our chapter. He became a NRA certified range safety officer. He went through a lot of the training. He became a basic pistol instructor along with me. And he was very supportive of the chapter behind the scenes, and even, helped out with training and things of that nature. So, men are involved on the periphery. I think, especially if you're a chapter leader, if you have, a spouse that's really supportive, and I mean, it helps tremendously. And yeah, same thing.
Absolutely. So out here in the West Valley of the Phoenix area, Dana Worley was a chapter leader, and her husband, Mike Worley, he has passed on. He was in a horrible car accident several years ago and passed on. But I know that, he was such her cheerleader, and really just kind of came along beside, and it really kind of mirrored how Danny and I operate. We're just each other's support systems, and I pick up the things that he's, not the best at, and he does amazing things that I'm no good at. And so I watched that play out in a very powerful way. So I think that that's an important and well taken thing. And Mike Abramovich he was my very first firearms instructor.
Mine
And
too.
I know that he was the trainer to the trainers for a long time with Armed Women of America.
Mhm.
So
He wasn't, and Cheryl, thanks for bringing Mike up because I was about to mention him because has been a huge supporter of our organization and helped many of the chapter leaders today become instructors and become successful, competent instructors. So it's not just a certification with Mike, it's a lot of work. And I know that having gone through his instructor training program in 2014, along with Carrie Lightfoot's the Well-Armed Woman certification that she offered at the time. So yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. So this is really for both of you, but I'm going to throw it to Jan first. An organization like yours, everything runs on money, right? Donations or however each organization is set up. We are working on a fundraiser together. And so let's start, talking about that. And also, why are fundraisers so important to an organization like Armed Women of America?
Okay, I'll start that, and then Beth can dive into the details on some of what we're doing.
Awesome.
Excuse me. So fundraisers are critical for an organization like Armed Women of America. We are a nonprofit and a charitable nonprofit. And so our primary focus in fundraising is to offset the cost of membership. We want to keep membership fees reasonable for women so that it is not an obstacle to participation. And so by fundraising, we are able to support the work of the organization. We're a membership organization. We have membership systems, bookkeeping. Chapters need funds, and they do fundraising of their own, but they also receive part of the membership fees to go back to the chapter to use for chapter activities. And so we have insurance and other kinds of costs that we have to cover. So we gain sponsors, we seek donations that we can use then for things like sweepstakes, and the newest venture, our online auction, which A Pot of Gold is so graciously hosting, and we are so grateful for.
We're so
And
excited to be a
I
part of
know
this.
this is exciting. And so it also, as part of our fundraising, we hope by bringing sponsors on board and donors on board, they learn more about who we are as an organization. And we, in turn, can then give them exposure of their products, their brands, and how they benefit women in the self-protection training field. As they're learning, or whether it's clothing, whether it's a home system so they can dry practice, whether it's the firearms themselves, whether it's ammunition, all kinds of things. So it's exposure for those companies as well to our varied membership that they can't reach any other way.
Absolutely. And so, as you've mentioned, Pot of Gold Estate Auctions, that is one of our companies that we own. So pogauctions.com is so proud and honored to be hosting the annual fundraiser as an auction, as an online auction. And we have started posting items at pogauctions.com. It's the September 24th, 2024 auction. And tossing it to you, Beth, kind of take folks through what it is we're doing exactly and how people can help from maybe both ends, donating and
Absolutely.
bidding, right?
And donating and bidding. So I'll start a little bit about what we've received so far. And it's a variety of items. And I want to talk about that from the perspective of, by the time the auction closes, around the end of September there, we're not far off from Christmas.
Right.
So it might be, a good chance to, think about getting your Christmas shopping started a little bit earlier. So we've got everything from, we've got a rose from Sig Sauer to beautiful jewelry pieces that were donated by Christy Titus from her Pursue the Wild collection, to concealed carry handbags, to, oh my gosh, the holsters. The variety of holsters is incredible. We've got cleaning kits. And then the other thing I want to really focus on what we have as well, training opportunities from really, world-class trainers. We will have gift certificates for classes to Gunsight. Terry Vaughn, who you met last year in Branson, his dangerous individual recognition training online course. Shelley Hill, the complete combatant, where there's a gift certificate for her as well. So everything from non-live fire training tools from Mantis and laser ammo, all the way up to in-person training opportunities at Gunsight. There's just so much that's available to a variety of people. No matter where you are in your journey, there's definitely something for you. So on the other side of that too, we are still accepting donations, and we want to keep bringing the good stuff in. And as Jan talked about, there's definitely some really great benefit to the donors in terms of it is tax deductible, the donation, because we are a 501c3 nonprofit. So there's that avenue to it. And then the other avenue is the promotion that we are doing within AWA, and you all are doing as well. So it goes beyond just our membership to your followers in your group. So that's a lot of reach. And we're really excited about that. And we're hoping to bring in more donations. And you can visit armedwomenofamerica.org and click on the online donation and find out more. You can contact me, you can contact Jan. If you are a firearms manufacturer or retailer, drop us a line. We'd love to have some more firearms, as well as ammunition. So we're very excited about this.
I would like to add to that, if I could please, Pot of Gold is donating the time, and we're not receiving any funds for the sale price of the firearms or accessories and other things that we're selling. We also encourage those that are just regular people that have maybe an extra firearm laying around, that can be sent to us. You can call Pot of Gold Auctions or Armed Women of America, and they'll give you instructions on how you can directly ship that gun from your home to our location through our FFL. So we encourage you to donate firearms, ammunition. Just give us a call and we'll let you know if it's acceptable or not.
Absolutely. And so I'm cruising along as you're talking, Beth, about some of the items, and Chateau on the Lake Resort
Yes.
Spa in Branson, Missouri. I'm
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, I reached out to the host cities of prior conferences because they were so receptive and welcoming, and said, hey, can you hook us up with some hotel stays? And we've got some goodies coming from the Branson Convention and Visitors Bureau to go along with those hotel stays that are going to include tickets to Silver Dollar City and different events, some swag. And we also have Utah Valley Convention and Visitors Bureau, which is where we were in 2017. So we got to stay at the Provo Marriott, and they're sending in some swag and some goodies as well. So there's, other things that aren't firearm related, that maybe that somebody's looking for a quick getaway and take advantage of that.
Absolutely. I'm seeing that they're books by our good friend Liz Lazarus, signed by the author. She writes these amazing kind of like murder mystery thriller books, and to get those signed by the author. And here's what I like to say about benefit auctions. This is not a time to try to get a bargain, right? Look at all of our other auctions for the bargains. This is the time to know that you're getting an amazing item or items, and that you are helping to boost that bottom line of an awesome organization like Armed Women of America, and all of the good work that is done throughout their chapters. So not a time to bargain hunt, but definitely a time to get on here and do some serious and fun bidding. And I love that you tied it into the gift giving season. That's going to be on us in a minute. And I see some really cool things on here that would be awesome as gifts, even if you hang on to it for like Mother's Day or Father's Day or,
And you could look at the
I shop
listing,
ahead.
and you could look at the listings today, and tomorrow there'll be more.
Exactly.
All the way
Yes.
up till the last probably 5 days before the auction. So
Yep.
keep
There's-
an eye on that.
They're still coming.
Exactly. So again, that is our website, pogauctions.com. But I'm going to throw it back to you ladies just as we start wrapping up. If you have any final thoughts or comments, and also tell us how we can follow the work that you're doing individually and together, and also the auction. Beth, I'm going to start with you.
Okay, for the auction specifically, again, we're still accepting donations, and mark the website on your calendar. Get ready to bid. We definitely encourage everyone to participate. To donate to the auction, you can visit armedwomen.org, and there's a link right at the top banner that says donate to the auction, or visit the online auction page, so you can get with us and do that. And, Jan can talk about where to follow AWA in terms of social media. Mine's pretty simple. I've got a website, theeventrunner.com, and on LinkedIn, and that's pretty much my social media footprint.
Well, I think that's why you have enough time to run events, because social media is a job in
Yeah,
itself.
absolutely.
And just real quickly, what kind of events? Like, if somebody's out there like, well, shoot, I've got an event coming up. Maybe I need Beth. What do you do specifically for organizations?
You know what? It depends on what the event is. It's anything from large conferences, as you've experienced, to virtual events online, as we're doing with the auction, galas. I've done range days. So we've done a lot of in-person work with AWA, all the way to small events like board retreats and things of that nature, to trade shows.
That is fantastic.
And
to
I'm
have
just going to
somebody-
interject that Beth is a certified meeting planner. She is a true professional, and we have been so impressed with her work, and the quality of our conferences over the past few years have just continued to ramp up. And she is just amazing to work with, and just really works for the organization that she is contracted to. And we appreciate that, and we appreciate Beth.
Thank you very much. And AWA is my passion client, by the way.
I totally understand that. And I have been able to experience your work firsthand, because I was in Branson, Missouri last year, and it was just so smooth. It was so professional. It was so well thought out. I just really felt like I was just gliding through all of the different events that you had planned. And when it was time for me to get up on stage and speak, I was completely supported. I had, all the mic check done, and everything was amazing. So I can definitely attest to that. Thank you so much, Beth, for all that you do.
Thank you. It's easy when you've got an amazing team.
That's so true,
Mhm.
right? So
Mhm.
then Jan, tell us, what do you want to say to folks as we wrap up, and how do they continue to support and follow the work of AWA?
Well, thanks, Cheryl. They can go, as Beth said, to our website, armedwomen.org. We have social media on both Facebook and Instagram under Armed Women of America. So please like and follow our pages, and comment positively to help us increase our reach.
Mhm.
And we also have a LinkedIn account, and we are working on getting that populated. We do have a journal on our website, or a blog. And so please look at that. And we are looking for guest contributors as well for that. My email, jan@armedwomen.org. I'd be happy to talk with you about whatever it is, whether it's a donation, whether it's joining, whether it's leading a chapter, hosting a chapter. Looking forward to that. And personally, I am on LinkedIn as well. And the name is spelled Ennenga.
Ennenga. Couldn't be
That's
simpler.
right.
Thank you, ladies, so much for all that you do, and for all that you bring into the lives of women, millions of women across this nation. And then by extension, their families. It's such important work, and we are excited and honored to partner with you in this fundraising auction at pogauctions.com. We will be talking to you ladies soon.
Thank you. It's an
Thank
honor.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
So I'd like to, I didn't get the chance to say that, for a woman that's just starting, or a man, but for a woman that's just starting to learn about firearms and a little nervous, think back to the day when you got your first car, the first time you learned how to drive a car. You're excited, you want to do it, but you're afraid, you're terrified, but you know that I want it so bad, I'm going to get through the training session
Right.
and make it. And I think that's the same way about a firearm, is that if you want to defend your family, if that's important to you for your family to be safe, then the more training you get done, the better off you're going to be. And you just need to do it.
Well, people say all the time, you will rise and fall to your level of training. That is what's going to happen if you're in an emergency situation. And so, you cannot have too much training. And plus, it's fun. It is just fun. It's an adrenaline rush, and it's a serotonin release. It's like all the things. Especially if you have a range buddy and you go out on the range with somebody. Which brings me.
But I wanted to comment on so what if you want to learn how to train, but it's super hot, and it's sweaty,
that time of year,
and
right?
How am I going to be able to hold my gun? What am I going to be able? How am I going to do this?
Thanks for the setup, Dan. So some good friends of ours that Jan just mentioned, or was it Beth? Shelley Hill and her husband Brian have the Complete Combatant. They have created this product called Locked In Grip. It is a liquid shooting sports chalk. You know what? I wonder if they're going to have some in that auction. We're going to have to find out. It has a no slip, better traction, heightened connection for safer, faster shooting. Go to lockedingrip.com and get some for you and your favorite shooting buddy.
And I just went shooting. I got all cleaned up now. I've got my shower. I am starving to death.
Yeah.
And I want some food.
Okay. Well, good setup again. So, and we love Made in America, right?
Yes.
And so we are part of an organization that is an invitation only shopping network, shopping club, and you have to be invited. So consider this your personal invitation from Dan and Cheryl Todd to join this awesome shopping club that is helping our family and millions of others cut the cord on those huge corporations that use every dollar we spend there against our rights, especially our Second Amendment rights. So start using your money to support freedom. Go to patriothousehold.com/GFR for Gun Freedom Radio. And so what you can buy through that is all your household stuff, right? You're going to buy laundry soap. You're going to buy skincare products. You're going to buy delicious snacks. These are our favorites.
Why do we always start with household goods? Why don't we start with the steaks?
Well, because, not everybody is a meat eater, right? But everybody cleans their house.
Who's not a meat eater?
I don't know. We are carnivores for sure. And Riverbend Ranch steaks are part of this group. They are the best steak, the best hamburger you are ever going to taste in your life. All of these products, including the edible items, are shipped directly to your door. So you go to patriothousehold.com/ you set your order. I set mine and forget it. You can shop online as you go. Whatever is your preference shows up at your doorstep. Could not be any simpler than that. You're supporting American jobs on American soil with American-made products.
What's that? I just had a steak and now I want a treat.
I already held up your favorite treats. I did. These Simply Fit treats are amazing. Peach praline are our favorite, but there are other flavors, and they're great for a grab and go kind of a snack. But patriothousehold.com/GFR. Every dollar you spend there supports not only our show and the work we do, but it also supports the Second Amendment Foundation, who are out there fighting lawsuits in every single state when your rights are infringed on. So patriothousehold.com/GFR. Do it today. Dan, we got to get on out of here. This has been an amazing show. I want to encourage people. Today, we are in the studio on August 6th, 2024. We have this great benefit auction for Armed Women of America coming up on September 24th, 2024 at pogauctions.com. Online bidding is currently open. New items are being added every day. And on the 24th of September in the evening, 6 p.m., I believe it is, in Arizona time, we start closing out items starting with lot number 1, and it's going to run through fast. So I would say don't wait till the last minute. I would say get your bids in now and watch them at the excitement as they go.
Double what you want to pay because it's going to a good cause.
That's true.
And,
right?
and remember that all the money, whatever it sells for, that's what it's going to go to Armed Women of America.
Absolutely. And I just want to thank our amazing guests for all the work that they do and for working with us on this fundraising auction at pogauctions.com. Jan Ennenga, Beth Rees, amazing ladies who are just at the top of their game in every area. Thank you so much to our amazing listeners and viewers all across the world. So, if you're in another country and you want to bid on the auction, now that might be a little bit different thing. But if you're in a different country and you are spending your time with us, that's amazing. Your time is your most finite commodity. When you spend it with us, we value that. And if you want to go back and watch any portion of this show or any of our shows, then you see those at the YouTube, you see those at gunstreamer.com. You can go there, and when you do, please, this is so important, click the notifications button, click the subscribe button. And here's why. When you do that, it tells those platforms that you want more of this kind of content. You value our subject matter experts, and it gives us a little hedge against, being canceled, quite honestly.
Kicked off because we said election or something.
I know, or said the word gun. It's like we're in a crazy time in history. But when you, the end user, tells those platforms that you value this, they listen to you. They won't listen to me, but they will listen to you.
Who's going to listen to you?
You do sometimes.
Nah.
Maybe the dogs? No, not even the dogs at home. Anyway, and also if you want to listen to the audio only version, go to our website, GunFreedomRadio.com. Click the on demand tab and
binge listens to odd content.
Darling. And if you want to see photos and bios and links to all the works that all of our guests have ever produced out there, including this auction that we keep talking about at pogauctions.com, go to the guest tab. There's a huge resource there of subject matter experts. And when you spend time there, we don't hate that. All right. Until next time, we are going to
pray for our nation.
Oh, you paused for a second there. Why?
Well, because it's messed up right now.
So we need prayer, right?
Well, I was going to do a double prayer.
A double. Okay, good.
So I thought we're not there yet, but we need to pray.
We do. Pray for our nation. Pray for anyone in a leadership position. It is not easy to be a leader, whether it's in politics or whether it's, in an organization like Armed Women of America. Pray for our leaders. And then
when you say that word, why do you say leaders for?
You don't think Jan and Beth are leaders?
I'm talking about politicians, Cheryl.
Okay, that's a different thing.
They're, they're not our leaders. They represent us.
That's what
they
they're
don't
supposed
lead
to
us.
do.
They represent us.
So then
we lead them.
The ones
pray for us.
We're supposed. Yes, exactly. See, you get it. You get it.
We're the leaders.
We're the leaders.
They represent us.
Exactly.
They're supposed to represent.
But what about the representatives that maybe we don't like too much? Do we pray for them too?
Do you know how long it would take to pray for all the politicians I don't like?
Well, you can start now. Start today.
I'll pray for the politicians who are representatives that are truly representing our country.
Well,
but I will not.
I'm going to pray even especially for the ones
it's
that
going to take you a long. Okay, you got a couple months of work to do.
All right, everybody. Until next time. Oh, be good to each other. Have a great week, and God bless.
Bye-bye.